Welcome to Stella's Meza. On today's episode, we're going to take a safari, a culinary safari, to West Africa, and I hope you brought your appetites. No passport required. Well, today we're going to go to Senegal and Nigeria. We're going to do a snack kind of thing, and we're going to make Bissap or juice de Bissap. That is the Senegalese national drink. What it is the sorrel flower or hibiscus flower. Now these I have washed, that's why they kind of look wet, but this is what they look like. They have that deep burgundy color, and it has a taste like cranberry juice. So it's very good for you. It's an antioxidant, and it's also good for reducing high blood pressure. Research has shown. So we're gonna make this today, and we're also going to make, to go with it, we're going to make Nigerian meat pies, and I'll put a touch of Kenya in there, which is typically me, and I hope you get to enjoy this. So we get started right away. Over here I had boiled 10 cups of water, and right as it started to boil, I turned it off. So I'm going to put this aside. I'm going to show you here the 2 cups of Bissap. Now this also exists in, I think, Jamaica. They call it Roselle, and it's also they drink it in Egypt and Sudan. They call it kakade. Now I hope I'm pronouncing these right, because my languages are Swahili and English and others that are from Kenya. So I hope I'm not slaughtering the names, but you get the idea. So what we did is we had 2 cups of this, and I went ahead and rinsed them. I gave it a rinse twice. Now don't panic when you see the color coming off. You see that? Don't worry about it. It still has plenty color in there. This is West Africa's equivalent to what we have here in the South, very popular sweet tea. So this is our sweet tea. We drink it, they drink it cold in West Africa. I believe in Egypt and Sudan they drink it hot. And you can add other flavorings to it to enhance it. You can add orange blossom water. In Sudan and Egypt they add that. Or you can add vanilla extract. Or you can add orange juice. You can add mint. You can add pineapple juice. Today I'll be adding pineapple juice to mine, some orange blossom water, and some vanilla extract. And then I'll add a little bit of spices and cinnamon and nutmeg. And to take away that like tart flavor it has, I'll add a pinch of baking soda, not baking powder, baking soda, okay, to take away that tartness. So once the water has boiled, as soon as it's starting to boil, I turned it off, and I'm going to add in here petals, okay? So we're just gonna put it in there, let it steep for a little bit. And at this point, I wouldn't add the sugar in at this point. I'm gonna add it later because it has a sweetness of its own. It's a sweet tart thing going on, and I'll assess it later to see if it has the kind of sweetness I want. If not, I'll add sugar at that time. Now, for all the measurements, please visit my blog. It is www.stellasmeza.blogspot.com. Okay, so I'm just going to look at that beautiful color. That is pretty. And some places they use this for dye, like a natural dye. And I'd imagine this, like if you're making red velvet cake, I don't see why you would not use this. Some people use beets to get that red color in red velvet. So this could be an alternative. Look at that. Pretty red color. Okay, so we're just gonna let it steep. We're gonna cover it and let it steep. I'm gonna put that in there. And then you let it sit there for an hour. I'm gonna cover it up. Sit there for an hour, let the flavors and everything get in the water. Now over here, ooh Lord. Over here I have some oil. I need to reduce that, the heat on that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a quick break, let that cool down a little, then I'll come back to show you what we're going to do. And this oil is for the meat pie. Now for the meat pie, what I did in the clip before the video started, I went ahead and kneaded the dough for it. It's just flour, butter, some salt, and then some ice cold water. And what I did is I kneaded it and I put it in the fridge overnight. So after this filling cools down, I'm going to pull it out and I'm going to roll it out and cut it into circles. And then we're going to fill that up with the filling that I'm going to make here. And for the filling, what you will need is 1.5 to 2 pounds ground beef. Now I use 80-20, like 80% lean, 20% fat, just to give it a little bit of that flavor. I don't want it too dry. And then I'm going to use in there some red onions, medium size, finely diced red onion, and then in true Kenyan fashion, I'm gonna put a little bit of cilantro. Now I know they don't put this in the Nigerian version, but I'm just gonna kind of make it my own. And then we're gonna add some curry powder. We're gonna add some thyme. We're gonna add some cayenne pepper. We're gonna add some carrots. We're gonna add some red onions. I already mentioned that. Some salt, and I'm gonna grate a little bit of nutmeg, and we're gonna use bouillons, which is kind of like beef stock, and this is what it looks like. Now to find this, you can go to the grocery store, the international aisle, where the Hispanic foods are. You can find this there. So I'm going to add some of that in there, and then we're going to let it cook down, but I'll take a quick break. I'll let that oil cool down. It's supposed to be heated on medium heat, so we'll take a quick break and we'll be right back when I'm ready to start frying the fillings, okay? And we'll be right back. Welcome back. Now right before the break, we're letting our oil cool down because I let it heat up too long. And now it's ready, okay? So I'm going to start putting the ingredients in. Over here I have some curry powder. That's what I'll start with. I'll put it in there. And I'm just going to stir it around. And then wait to get that, once you start smelling it, now you add the onions, okay? Just stir them around. And for every measurement and everything I use, I'll include everything in my blog. Again, that's www.stellasmeza.blogspot.com. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit of oil in here. Just a touch bit. Remember, I don't want it to be too oily. And you want to do this until the onions start to look transparent. Now you see the size I cut the onions in? You can cut them smaller, but this is as small as I can manage to get them. So do that. Now this is similar to, the concept of putting some meat filling inside of some dough pastry is similar to the Hispanic, what do you call it? What do you call it?
Empanada.
Empanada, thank you, baby. It's similar to the Hispanic empanada, and the concept is the same. You put the filling in the middle of the round cut dough, and then you put some egg or egg wash around the edges just to seal it together. You flip it over in half, and then you press the edges with a fork, okay? Thank you, baby, for that. Alright, so we keep going over here. And over here you see I had some potatoes that I cubed, like 1/4 inch cubes, and what I did is I went ahead and kind of boiled them until the point they're just ever slightly so tender. Don't let them cook all the way, because remember, you're going to put it in here, it's going to cook in here, and then it's also going to go in the oven. Now these are not fried, they're going to go in the oven, okay? And that smells really good. I wish you were here to smell that. Okay, to this we're also going to add some ginger garlic paste. Now, I've gotten questions about where do you get ginger garlic paste. I normally get mine from an Indian grocery store, but in case you don't have one close to you, if you go to the grocery, just a regular grocery store, in the produce section where they have the herbs like dill and other herbs in like packages, they're normally hanging up there. Now if you want, you can make your own combination of ginger garlic paste. It's just always equal parts ginger paste, equal parts garlic paste. Now this is an example. That's ginger paste, and they also sell garlic paste in the same exact tube. You can just take, when I say a tablespoon of ginger garlic paste, you take a teaspoon of this and a teaspoon of garlic paste, you combine it, and there you have your ginger garlic paste. So you can combine it all in one container, just so for ease of use, okay? Now this is eaten as a snack, and I'm doing a test right here because I'm gonna, my son's 3rd birthday is coming up soon, and I want to make some of these just as like food you can easily hold and walk around. And this together, the juice of Bissap and this goes beautiful together. Now that juice of Bissap, now I hope I'm pronouncing this right. Again, I do not speak a lick of French or any West African languages, so I'm sorry if I'm slaughtering the name, but I'll have the spelling right on my blog, I promise. Now, this is also called Zobo in Nigeria, and I don't know if they use the same kind of spice combination or whatever we're going to put in there, but it's a similar thing. So it's very popular, okay, in a lot of tropical places. Now if you come here, you see the onions are going, starting to look very, trying to look transparent, because I don't think there's anything worse than biting into a raw onion in something that's supposed to be cooked. Alright, now I'm going to start adding the other things. This is cayenne pepper. Guys, it smells really, really, really good. And this is thyme. You add and stir as you go. Oh, the smell. Alright, now I'm going to add some garlic ginger paste. I know this is not the, this is my twist on it, okay? You can get another bottle of this. About a teaspoon. And I'm going to stir. Now if you hear any knocking sound, guys, in the video, please forgive me, but there's a bird that's been trying to get into my house for the past 2 days. It's just like trying to kick down my patio door. That's what that sound is, a knocking sound. So just ignore it like I'm trying to. You hear that? Okay, so I'm going to add some, I like to use fresh nutmeg. I know that it comes ground, but I don't think there's anything that tastes as good as fresh nutmeg. So I'm just going to do about a quarter, grate about a quarter teaspoon in there. That should do. Looking good. I'm going to reach out here, baby, and get this. So I'm going to start putting these tomatoes in there. See? That size. I'm going to add the salt at the very end because I do not want it to be too salty. Remember, we put cayenne pepper in there. So I'll taste the salt in the end. I'll give you a suggestion of how much salt to use, but again, you salt it according to your taste. Stir it up. Now guys, don't forget, I'll be doing a Q&A video soon, questions and answers. I would love it if you could comment on these recipes that I provide, and if you could write if you have any questions, and I'll try and answer them as best as I can. So I look forward to hearing that from you. My email address is on the side of my channel where it says about, where it tells you about me. So if you need to send your questions, that's the place you send it to. Okay? So you know what, I'm going to add this in there. Just going to crumble it in there. Remember, this is kind of like beef stock. Crumble it in there. Give it a stir. Smells wonderful. Okay, I'm going to add my cilantro now. About a tablespoon. I love cilantro. It gets a bad rep, but I think it adds such a good flavor to food. I love it. Alright, and then I'm going to add the ground beef. Now what I did when I got the pack of ground beef, I went ahead and squirted it, like cut across and then cut across like into squares just to break it up some so I don't have to do that much work in the pot as I'm cooking it. So I'm just going to leave it in there. I believe if you'd like to, as an alternative, you could use turkey or chicken, but my experience is that's kind of dry, and this is they use beef in Nigeria, so when you go to Rome, do as Romans do. I'm going to use Nigeria. You're allowed to make a little bit of changes here and there, but for most part, I try and stick to the original recipes as much as I can. Okay, but if I find that something would make it better, I go ahead and add it in there. Whatever works for you. Daisy. Right, now at some point after this, the meat does not look pink anymore. I am going to add, I have 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour in here, and I added some water to it, and I use a little whisk just to break up any lumps, and we're going to use that to thicken this, because you don't want to, you want to bind it together, and you don't want whatever that you're filling to be running. So I'm going to use that to thicken it up. So I'm just using this wooden spoon to kind of incorporate all the flavors in there together. Just mix everything. And then once we cook this, we are going to put it in a flat, like a baking sheet. Just let it cool completely in the refrigerator. That way when we put it into our pastry, it doesn't melt the butter. Now I'll show you. You've seen in the clip how I've gone ahead and kneaded the dough, and you saw that I used cube butter, and it had like little pea-sized particles. That was butter mixed with flour, and I want to maintain that, so I don't want to put this hot on the butter. That way it doesn't melt the butter. Now the reason I leave those little particles in the dough is so that when you bake it in the oven, the moisture evaporates from the butter and it makes the crust like nice and flaky. Okay, that's the reason why you cube the butter up and leave it like that, and that's why you use cold water, because the heat from your hand melts the butter otherwise. Use cold water and you put it in the refrigerator until you're ready to use it. Okay, it's kind of still breaking up as we go. Alright, so I'm going to keep browning this. Everything I need to put is already in there except the carrots. After I put this in, I'm going to put the carrots in, and then I'm going to let it cook and brown. Just get nice and brown where there's no more red anymore. And then I'll let it put on a baking sheet, let it cool for about 30 minutes in the refrigerator. And then I'm going to come back and we're going to roll out the pastry, and we're going to put the filling in. We're going to close them up, throw them in the oven, 350 degrees for 20 to 25 minutes. And we'll wait for our Bissap, and then we're going to enjoy. So we'll be right back. Welcome back. Right before the break, you stopped when I was browning the meat for the meat pies, and I went ahead and added the carrots. That was the last step. And also we had our Zobo steeping in hot water, and it's still steeping. It hasn't been quite an hour yet, so I'm going to let it sit there for a little bit more. I added some ginger, I added some orange blossom water, I added some vanilla. Now in case you're wondering what orange blossom water, this is it right here. And you can find this on Amazon or any online store, or if you have any Indian or Arabic specialty stores, you can find that there. It's very inexpensive. It's under $2, but it adds a nice little flavor to whatever it is you're cooking. They normally use it in North Africa for desserts, so I added that in there, and I also added some sugar. And I'll put all the ingredients and all the quantities and measurements in my blog. Again, please visit. It's www.stellasmeza.blogspot.com. Okay, now I went ahead and put the ground beef in a container. Before I took it out, I went ahead and added that. It was flour, 2 tablespoons of flour and some flour, just to kind of bind it together so it doesn't fall apart when we're assembling the meat pie. And I put it in the refrigerator so it completely cools down, because I did not want, when I put it on the pastry, for it to melt the butter, because we need that butter to release its moisture so that the crust or the dough is nice and flaky, kind of like a pie. Okay, so I went ahead and floured my clean surface here, and this is a disc of dough that you saw me put together earlier in the clip, and it's been sitting in the refrigerator overnight. So now I'm ready to start rolling it out. So I'm gonna kind of just roll it. Still, it's gonna be a little bit hard, and if you come closer, you'll see the little flakes of butter. You see that? Those are the things that when you put it in the oven, it's going to start releasing moisture, and that's going to make your meat pie nice and flaky. Now I know that sometimes they say to use margarine instead of butter, that butter makes the pastry really greasy, but as you can see, it's not greasy at all, and the reason is because I did not melt the butter. I used cold butter. Even when I cubed the butter, it was 2 sticks of butter that I went ahead and cubed and put in the fridge for an hour before I knead the dough. It stays cold, so nothing melts. The water I use is ice cold water. I put water that's already cold, and I put ice in it just to keep everything nice and cold. And when I started incorporating the butter into the flour, I used a pastry cutter. Okay, that way I don't handle it too much with my hand and make the butter to melt. Okay. All right, now I think we're about a little bit more. Now the problem is, this is supposed to be bigger than an empanada. That's how they make them. An empanada is around this height. Now there is no cookie cutter or anything that I can use that's the size of the circle that I want. So I resorted to using this. It's just a lid for a pan, a small lid. It's about 5 inches across, and I'm going to use this to cut the rounds. Okay, so this is what I do, just kind of push down, kind of circle it. Actually, it would make more sense to put flour around the rim, that way it doesn't stick to the dough. Just kind of wiggle it around to create room, so when you're trying to release it, it's not going to be stuck. And make sure it cuts all the way through, because you want to maintain that circular shape. There you go. And then I move on just like this. You keep doing this, and then the scraps that remains, these parts, you roll them again into one ball of dough, and repeat this process until you have all your rounds. If you want them smaller, go ahead, like cookie cutter size, but I like a handheld size kind of pie, or empanada looking pie. Okay, that's why you need to press down and make sure and wiggle it a little. So I'm going to keep doing this, and then when we come back, what I'm going to use is a cookie scoop. I'll pull the one out and you'll see it, to measure 2 of those scoops from the cookie scoop and put them right in the center. And then I'm going to crack my egg. I'm going to mix it with a little bit of water. It's 1 egg with 2 tablespoons of water to make an egg wash, and I'm going to just apply it to the circumference over here around, and then put the meat right in the middle, and then fold it over and use my fork to like flatten it or hold it together. Okay, so I'll keep doing this and use the scraps and make more, and then we'll be right back. Welcome back. Right before the break, you left me cutting the rounds from the dough, and I wanted you to see what they look like. Okay, so I just kept cutting the rounds, and whatever scraps of dough were left around the rounds, I'd go ahead and gather them together, make a ball, and roll it out, and do this again. So you want it to this thickness. Okay, see that? All right, so now we're ready. I have the cooled filling in here. I have an egg here, beat with 2 tablespoons of room temperature water, and I'm going to start scooping the filling into the dough. So you kind of want to center it, and I'm going to do 2 scoops each, that way I know they're all the same size. Now the dough yielded 11 circles of this size, and then a little one that I'm going to use that one to make one of these meat pies for my youngest son. I just did not want to waste anything. So look at what I'm doing. I'm dipping my pastry brush into the egg wash and just kind of going around the circle. It's going to bind the edges together. See that? Just circle around it, and then I'm going to gently, very gently lift, push this out the side, and flip this over, and then I'm going to tap the edges together at first, and then I'm going to go through that again with my fork. I'm just going to press down the edges, you know, seal them together. So this double seal, it's not going to come apart when you bake them. And I already have my oven preheating at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Now sometimes I forget to say what kind of temperature it is when I talk, because I'm in the States. I'm using Fahrenheit. Okay, and don't quote me, I'm not really sure. I don't know if it's 150 degrees Celsius if you're using the other metric system. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to lift it up. I already have a baking sheet here lined with this is silicone. It doesn't melt. So I'm going to do one more for good measure, just so you see exactly how I do it. No one misses anything. 2 scoops right in the center. You don't want to put too much of this, because when you fold it over, it might tear the dough. That's why I'm trying to make them as even as possible. Just 2 scoops on each one. And then I'm going to go through it around with the egg wash. I'm going to fold it over gently. First I'll use my fingers to kind of stump it down around the edges. See that? And then now you go in with your fork. And you want to do this, make sure you use a fork really well. Apply some pressure on there, or it'll come open when it's baking. Again, you're going to throw it in the oven at 350 degrees for 20 to 25 minutes until the tops look golden brown. Remember, the meat inside and everything, the filling is already cooked. Remember, you sauteed it over the fire. Now, when I'm finished putting them all together the way I've done here, I'm going to use the leftover egg wash with my pastry brush to just brush it on top to give them that nice golden, like shiny coat. And then I'm going to throw them all in the oven. So I already went ahead and strained my Zobo, or fleur de Bissap, and I put it in a pitcher. I put some pineapple chunks in there, and I added some pineapple juice in there just to give it a nice flavor, and it is delicious. Now, some might find it a little bit strong, so what you do is, if you find it strong, once you pour it out of the pitcher, just add some cold water into a glass and then top it off with the juice. Or you can add ice cubes. I did not put ice cubes in the pitcher when I put it in the fridge, because I just want to actually taste it. When I pour it into the glass, at that point I will add the ice cubes. So when you come back, I'll be done with this. I'll throw it in the oven and let it cook for 25 minutes, and then we'll be ready to enjoy. So don't be too long. All right, see you back soon. Welcome back. Right before the break, you left when I was folding the meat pies, putting the filling in, folding them, using a fork to seal the edges, and then I threw them in the oven at 350 degrees for 20 to 25 minutes. Now I added an extra 5 minutes because I wanted to have it a little bit more golden brown, so I put it in for a total of 30 minutes. And before I put it in, I'd already cut the camera off. I forgot to mention, right before I cut the camera off, I used my fork to poke holes in 3 parts of the meat pie, just so that the steam from the filling escapes and does not make the pastry soggy. Okay, so you can see the holes just 3 times, 1, 2, 3 on all of them. And it smells, the house smells like a home. Like this is how a home should smell. Like there's people living in it, there's life going on, there's people eating, there's food, just it smells really good. And over here you can see my Zobo, or my Bissap. You can see the pineapple chunks in there, I put in there. And after I let it cool down, I put in some pineapple juice just to give it a little bit more flavor. You can add orange juice, and this is pure pineapple juice, not like with other additives in it. And just be careful not to put too much because you still want to taste that tartness, a little bit of that tartness from the Bissap itself. So don't add too much of another flavor in there. So I add a little bit of water because I find that mine was too thick and I'm about to taste it. I put some ice cubes. I don't put the ice cube in the pitcher that I put in the refrigerator because I don't want to water it down too much. I just put some ice cubes in the glass for every individual when I pour it out. So I'm going to taste it and see. Oh, that's good. It's so smooth. It has that tartness that's not too much. It's not as tart as cranberry, but it's still there. The tartness is still there, and you have the notes in the very back, like as you swallow, the notes of the pineapple juice. This is you have to make this for like the summer. The warm months are coming. It's now spring is around the corner. The warm months are coming. That'll be great for summertime, and it's all natural. Again, it has antioxidants, and it's good. It helps with reduce your high blood pressure. People with high blood pressure problems. So that's something you need to check out. Now I'm going to put the recipes for these on my blog. It's www.stellasmeza.blogspot.com. And this right here, I have some barbecue sauce, and I think it would go good as well with some sweet and sour sauce or any kind of chutney like mango chutney. And I didn't have time to make that, so I just used barbecue sauce because that was at hand. Now you see, listen to this. You want this sound. Kind of hard. Not like hard like rock, but look. You hear that? Oh, look at that. Look at the inside. You see? So you see, it's nice and flaky. It's not soggy. Now, don't worry about not using butter and using margarine instead because it's going to be greasy. Look, it's not greasy at all. Not at all. So long as you use like a hard or like very cold butter and cold water to knead your dough, you'll be fine. Ooh. Ooh. Ooh, that is so good. You can taste the thyme in the back. And look how flaky that is, look. See that? Kind of just in layers. Delicious. One more. Really, really, really good. In case you're wondering where you can get the filet de Bissap, those you can find either at a Mexican store. I bought mine at a Mexican store in the or any Hispanic store. Over there they call them Jamaica. Okay, so ask them for Jamaica and they'll give it to you. Or you can go to a Jamaican store and ask for sorrel. Okay, Jamaican or any West Indian store and ask for sorrel. If you go to an African grocery store, you ask for Zobo and they'll give this to you. Okay, or juice de Bissap or Bissap. Okay, so I hope you get to try this recipe. It's very simple to make, it's delicious, and it's filling. These are perfect to hold around like for a cocktail party or kids' birthday party, which is what I'm going to do. My son's birthday is coming up in a week, so I'm going to make these as part of the dishes. And join me next time as we take our taste buds, or I take your taste buds, on another culinary safari. One more thing before I go. Right in the clip, right at the beginning of this video, you saw me use my hands to mix the flour and make the dough. You can use your stand mixer with the hook attachments in there. Just mix the butter and the flour, and then when you get together and it's like pea-sized portions, that's when you dump it out, put it on a flat surface, and use into a bowl and use a little bit of ice cold water to mix, okay? And you'll get the same results. Okay, so I'm going to stop here, and next time I feel like taking you to Algeria, so join me next time. Let's go to Algeria or some other exotic place. And I love you. Thank you so much for joining me every week. I appreciate you. This right here, safi, and that in Swahili means on point. See you later. Yeah, 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 yeah.